Okay, I just was getting ready to brag about my status and kind of make fun of myself because, as you see, I got this one, and oh, here this one, and you can see my hair's all ratty because only thing it's good for me is cutting my hair most time, and people looking at me like Nick if I try to grow out my hair like it's fancy looking or something. But anyways, yeah, here we go. We got these racing paces and what I want to relate it to. So the one that's over, yeah, this way, this one, it's got the 635 is actually a pace I hit. Starting with the first one, so obviously the first one I'm pointing out 635, and then I have the one with the most splits. But 635, okay, so I was lifting weights when I hit that pace, and then a 719, and then 808, 805. But obviously, I'm around traffic when I'm running these paces. I've always pointed out to people, there's always some sort of like maneuvering you have to do to be extra agile. And one thing where I hit that pace was at a bridge area, and I had to pretty much do a lunge over a bridge side, a bridge gap, because it has a sidewalk that's not took care of, no maintenance on it whatsoever. And it's covered, most of it's covered in grass, and then there's a bridge area that goes back onto a main road with a curved side of the road that you can still jump on without being exactly in the middle where everyone's driving. So the intense part of all these running paces I'm dealing with is that simple fact that, like, say I'm running around town. I tested the one at night. The longest split that I have, I tested at nighttime, and I think I was tripping. It was late at night. I'm tired, exhausted already. And the 1034 was up a very steep hill, but some odd reason it says negatives all the time. I'll say negatives this many feet, or so 75 feet into the negative 13. So somewhere in between that, I was either in a dark area or decided to just walk and be like, whatever. At least I did an extra exercise for a day, so I'm doing additional distance. So it's not always about your best pace all the time when you're running, especially when I mentioned I only have one of these where I actually confirmed I kept up a lifting weight schedule, and the rest of them are like, I think the one that's furthest on the other end at another, let's see, a little over 4 miles, and I was standing around for maybe, it claims, like so many seconds to add up to 10 minutes of my pace. So I was just walking and it didn't hit the timer on exactly when I was done with that mileage, which I've pulled that off before, hit the mileage and hit the timer easily. But obviously, I have to keep up with a lot of exercises. It can't just be the rush exercise. So even if it's a longer distance, it still can be considered a rush exercise where you're just trying to get a rush from running, and you're not really trying to improve your pace. You're just like, woohoo, I'm going to go out and run every single day because that gives me a rush. I'm not going to do anything that involves proper posture or form when running, which I've noticed that with different shoes. I have to run differently with shoes. I have to feel like I'm really goofy footed with shoes, and that causes my pace to go up and down in between traffic areas or around corners. And obviously, there's a map up there of the locations where it shows little curves and swerves. But I didn't take that full picture, so I don't think that's going to be in this video. But yeah, like going around corners or sidewalks, having a backward step, using my peripherals to try not to turn my head or sway my body, make sure I'm in stance when running. All that kind of stuff is really difficult when around a high populated area. Now, I've done low populated areas where there's no traffic at all and no one's around me, and basically what I pull off is run in the dark like usual, and it gets the hard part about it is it's depressing. I think it's more depressing to run late at night than it is early in the morning or something, or exactly in the middle of the morning. I think it's the most depressing time to pull it off. It's like late night runs are the worst. Especially when you're just trying to burn it, like myself. I was trying to get myself to lose a little bit of extra energy because I had to get up early in the morning. When I got up early in the morning, it was no use of that morning routine. So, yeah. So keeping up with additional reps and stuff, because people say, well, high reps equals slower running. They say, like, I don't know, high reps equals you're gonna be running slower, or high reps are gonna equal weaker muscles, which I think is funny because I have to work all the time. So a person becoming an average to go up against a pro or something, or an elite, is always going to have to be more consistent about what they're doing, because they're not being sponsored into these programs. I'd rather not be sponsored. I'd rather have claimed I worked most of it. There's or earned it off of some social revenue where I have to highlight myself in order to improve my algorithm and bring myself out there more. But yeah, like these things where I'm listening to other athletic guides. I agree on half of them what they say, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I can't do that low minimum rep thing, because I do deadlifting with working, and then I usually sometimes do deadlift exercises in between. So how I'm supposed to do low reps if I gotta keep up with working plus running plus lifting weights? That's gonna just be the scenario where I have these two. I think they were the closest. Whereas running really fast in this one, and then I started gradually slowing down. But like I said, it's high traffic areas at those times. So surprisingly, this one shows it could have been lower traffic or more traffic, or just the direction I was going that's causing me to hold a more solid pace, because I do change the location of the traffic areas where I'm running. Yeah, and doing it at a marathon and still wind it up with probably this more than this, or even this perfect example, this longer distance one. That'd be my mood if I was not conditioned or tired or exhausted. And not doing a running event before I start my day, because that's actually another rush it gives me. If I had to go to a marathon and then to go to work, I haven't that everyone's like, wow, you're going to be exhausted. No, I'm in complete shock when I do a marathon. I'm not going to fall asleep. If I go home and try to lay down, I'm going to be wide awake, feeling my own body pains and stuff. So I'd rather just walk it off, like they call it body pains, but I think it's more like blood flow, where the blood flow goes when you sit down after running. It obviously goes into your legs. Your leg muscles are bigger than the rest of your body. I have too much of a dominant muscle area today. Still, I can't show that area right now, because I feel like the algorithm will kick me off if I try showing that area. But this is my athletic status for the year, getting ready for a marathon. When's that marathon again? Let's see, because I've been keeping up with marathons. So yeah, it's 27 days. So all I have time for is really to stay conditioned. October 6th. Yeah. So 27 days, October 6th, I'll be running a marathon, and it's one of the mid-tier harder level ones, because anytime I do the Pennsylvania ones, I feel like they're the mid-tier hard difficulty because of weather and conditioning. Because I did the Philadelphia marathon, and when I got done with it, like over halfway, some of these areas there's wind tunnels where you'd walk through, and then basically freezing cold wind would blow through, and I was wearing shorts and stuff, and I've signed up for these marathons with nothing but cheap gym clothing or like Walmart shoes, and if I hit the wall, I'd walk it, and I'd be like an ice cube until I decided to run again and unthaw my body. So I could feel it go all the way to my nervous system, like just contract to my brain, to my heart, to my lungs. I could start feeling my insides based on how frigid and cold it was outside. And I'd still keep up with the pace of the marathon. Even if I was walking and crawling, I would just be like, I'm going to go forward. Follow those heroic advocate advice. If you're not running, you're walking. If you're not walking, you're gonna keep on trying to crawl. I don't know. Was that M MJ MK Junior? Yeah. Well, yeah, like that kind of scenario where you have to be like that at a marathon every time versus running sprints. These are sprint distances versus running a marathon. Even if I'm working, like I said, a lot of that's mental energy. Hey, look at these receiving hairlines. So yeah, but there we go. I made a video on this, just long enough to be hopefully be entertaining enough to put on an algorithm. And thank you everyone for stopping by. And hope you have a good one. I'll have lots of video game content coming up in the near future, like live streaming. Or maybe I should have made this video game content and then combine it later, like video edit and everything.